Um, yeah, so hi, my name is Ricardo. My background is my hometown is in Lisbon. I was born in Guinea-Bissau. My family is mixed with Portuguese, but I grew up in Lisbon. It's my hometown. I grew up drawing, making music. I even made rap, and I used to play basketball, did all sorts of sports and things like that. I studied electronics engineering and computers engineering. It was a mix, and I was always in computers, as maybe a lot of you guys were as well. Yeah, so this is roughly the timeline of what happened with me, like in the from March 2020 to now 2021. So I was at Lush, and I was part of like the leadership team at London, which allowed me to develop like all sorts of skills, like from like managing like the office and what we would do in the office, and how to just create like a really nice engineering vibe. The engineering team was like growing in London. Lush is mostly operating from Poole and other parts of the world, but the headquarters in Poole. As a team lead, I had the opportunity to hire two new devs, two girls, and it was brilliant. Actually, from outside UK, one from Germany, the other from Canada. Super talented, and it was really nice, pairing with them on a sprint by sprint basis. I used to pair with them like maybe one or two times, trying to solve problems, sharing my knowledge. It was a pretty good opportunity to literally understand if they had issues with tooling, and how me from my level could help the business come together to solve those things for them, and just like make things easier for them so they can hit their goals. And then mentorship, just understanding like what they wanted to do, who they wanted to be, what type of career they wanted to have. Yeah, different type of visions. There was also the rest of the guys in Pool, which I worked with in the same sort of way. And from as an engineer and individual contributor, I guess I was the bridge between the back end and the front end team. And I like to think I was put into these failing, well, or projects that weren't going well for a while, and then trying to bring them to success. Again, applying a lot of the things that Lefteri actually mentions in her talk. And well, I knew a lot of people, I network a lot. So I knew a lot of people at Lush, and eventually people working in the photography team invited me for a campaign. And if you're a Lush customer, you might see my face around. But yeah, so I was thinking like, but things were imperfect, and I started thinking, like, yeah, should I leave? I also wanted to work on my side projects. I always had the dream of building a company. I already had friends who were contractors or had a small business as well. So all those things started coming to my mind. But then it's like, what if I fail? I have a job that pays well. I have mentees, and they came from like other countries, and I enjoy working with me, and I enjoy working with them. Sort of felt like I was betraying them, because there was like so much work still to do, so much knowledge to share, so much to learn from them as well. And thinking like, how do I get clients? How do I even start? So I'm this is not like a complete thing about like how to start a company, but like the reasons why was like I wanted independence. It was sort of a life goal, kind of like tick box, and to work how I like to work. Maybe work with people that I also really wanted to work with. Sometimes you're in a company and you get some mixed bags, or you put in a team that you don't enjoy so much. And I wanted to create a platform to build my side projects and things that I had been building throughout the year, to take them to something profitable, maybe, or try to make money out of them in any way, as we'll see in the future. So how do you do that? You just go to gov.uk website. It's fairly simple. Maybe you should watch some YouTube videos first about it. Like there's some pretty cool people explaining it. If you have like some friends, or I don't know, someone even at HR in your company that you can talk about all this stuff, it's also nice, but it's pretty simple. Just go through it. 12 pounds. I started a limited company because that allows me to hire people. And essentially, I am someone who likes to be around people. I like to help people grow. And by not being a limited company, I wouldn't be able to do that kind of stuff. So the pros for me were like I could choose the projects that I want to work from for, and money wise, everything seemed pretty good. Although, you know, taxing and how you spend your money uh, can be a problem. So you have to get an accountant to figure out all this stuff for you. I didn't know a lot of these things. But another pro is like you actually own your time. So it's you, everything you put in is everything you get. And the cons, like, you know, it can be risky. I actually don't think right now it's too risky because um, in tech there is so much money and so much opportunity going on right now. Maybe during the pandemic there was some shift of the money, and some things got frozen here and there. People lost their jobs, but I think in general, like there is a lot of money in tech right now and a lot of opportunities. So I didn't see that as a problem. And also, if you have like specialized knowledge, things become easier. It can be lonely. I wasn't working anymore with people that I enjoyed, or even, you know, like with friends in the beginning. It was mostly myself, and there is like no sorts of benefits, holidays. You give holidays to yourself. You are your own boss. There's like a bunch of things that you know, don't come in the package. You got to create that for yourself. But yeah, saying yes changed my life, and what a change. Corona comes in and it changed my life, your life, and everyone's life. So I was like, okay, so this is great. But to be honest, I learned to see to use negative visualization, which is a Stoic thing. It doesn't matter, but essentially, I always take like the bad moments as an opportunity to grow, right? So, you know, your own. There is a lot of time. You started a company. You know, let's get to coding. After 2 weeks in Portugal, just chilling, being away from like to create that break between working for Lush and then starting the company, I came back to London and I started working on projects. But before I even start talking about that, I want to say, like, to do all this stuff, it was really important, like to build relationships, to create a network. And I don't know, I don't think I did it on purpose, but a lot of times I also didn't say no when people invited me to show up at an event, invited me for a coffee. I just, you know, showed up and tried to get to know people. If they were interesting, we would follow up on that. We would do more stuff together. And I think building relationships is what enables you to be successful as a freelancer, contractor, or as a business person in general, or anything in life, to be honest. Um, so with that, like, I started working on this project, which was for Ethermar, which is a mechanical engineering, sea construction. They do different things around the world, like tunnels and things like that, or yeah, like bridges and stuff, stuff like that. So I started working on Ethermar through a friend of mine is called Sam, and Sam is a designer in London at RGA, if I'm correct. I think he's leaving, but so Sam was he's a friend of another friend who was visiting London, and he was like, let's go out for a party. And I was like, yeah, let's party. So I meet Sam. Sam is like, oh, I also live in East London. We should meet for a coffee sometime. We met for a coffee. We talked about tech, design, and just like common interests. Sam is also a guy who is his family is Portuguese, but he was born here. So, you know, we had a connection already. And he was like, oh, I have this project where the client, you know, they came to me for design, but they also need a developer, and they can't find someone who's good. And like, from what I see from your background, like, you know, I think you could do it. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we built this, you know, website with Next.js, Prismic, everything in TypeScript, and it's statically rendered, and it's like, you know, really fast, and the client is happy. They still my client up to this day. And, you know, some days they come and they pay me for a really small change. And, you know, let's say it's something that I probably can do like in 2 hours, and I get 400, you know, pounds for that. So I'm going to move to the other project. I'm going to move through the projects very quickly. So Valise is a startup started by two friends of mine. There were some other two guys there as well. but they at this time, after I finished this project, they just wanted like that I spend like 2 weeks or so doing a proof of concept, to build like this luggage and pick up and drop off service, which essentially which would work in Portugal, and I think in Angola, and eventually they would see what to do. So the project involved like writing Golang, front end was Next.js, but in a PWA style. They decided they didn't want to go with a mobile application because it was way harder to maintain as a business and from developer resources as well. Yeah, so built a proof of concept for them. And I actually knew I already had another project lined up, um, um, with Us2 and Christie's. So Us2 is probably like one of the best agencies in the world, in my opinion. Really crazy talented people. And Christie's is a 300 years old auction house, probably the first one, or at least for what we know is a modern auction house. Like all the biggest works of art are auctioned in this platform. So this was a really, really challenging project. Like we had like some cool algorithms on front end side filtering, dynamically loading large sets of images and content in a page, which actually, I think this feature was introduced a couple months after natively on Chrome. But I guess like our version is works like in previous versions of Chrome, which was cool. But this project was really challenging for me mentally. And I think it was then, this was already around October, I think. So I was feeling like, I worked so hard up to then. I had a couple holidays, short holidays here and there. But the project was really intense. So I was like, my sanity and me feeling good is way better. And like I already had saved up some money. But to be honest, I just wanted to leave into something more chill. So enter Planes and Collectible. Planes is a small agency. They needed a developer to come in who was capable of working with GraphQL, React Native, JavaScript, TypeScript, like all this stuff. And I already had experience with these things, maybe not like so deeply as in when releasing a production level application on the iOS App Store that involve like large amounts of money. And well, let me just explain. Collectible is a trading application for collectibles in United States. So it's a thing that probably mostly works in the United States because people love to collect these sports memorabilia. It's a whole market. So this app actually made some of these collectible items grow from like 500% over their original value. And some people got back their money in like a month, like three times more, for example. So that was a really cool project. I learned a lot about like React Native. I learned a lot about AWS, the cloud, working with the cloud engine and all that stuff. But to be honest, I didn't quite enjoy that. Debugging was really slow for me, at least. And it's just like this black box. Didn't quite enjoy it, but it gets the job done, and I guess in many ways it helped us move like faster as well. Yeah, I have this slide. I had about this time everything was going like really cool career wise, making money, working on all these projects, and then I had a breakup with my girlfriend. I guess she was also hit by this whole stress with the pandemic. She got COVID through her work, and then I got COVID through her. And it doesn't matter really, but I just wanted to like have this slide to talk about it, and it was like a moment that kind of like got me really down in the year, and also to make me think like who I want to be, and make some changes in my life, in my mindset. Yeah, so I'm going to move on to another more happier topic. So throughout this whole thing, and as I'm like making money and having money in the company, by the way, from this perspective, I had some money saved up before I left the company. Okay, let's just make that clear. It's not like all amazing, and I had to work for a while, save that money to be able to make these moves. But here I had money already in the company. My company is called Yonko Level, which I forgot to mention. So I wanted to build MIDI circuit for a long time. MIDI circuit is a music application that essentially teaches you music with your electronic music instrument. So we use native APIs and the native APIs of your own instrument to synchronize the application with your instrument. So essentially, we know when you press like a button, and we can send like pixels to the device screen, and it just becomes like this really immersive experience. And it's essentially, you go through these different sets of learning patterns, from memorizing shortcuts to completing challenges to playing with music and freely or in a very specific instruction set, almost like programming. And and you complete these lessons, and you can see your progress and complete the challenges. At this time, I hired my friend Delcio as a designer. So I think it's another cool thing that you can do now, is like, I hired Delcio and I asked him to start doing like the design. So we worked together in wireframes and working on the UX up to the point where it gets like this nice and beautiful screen. So project wise, roughly, this is the stuff that I've been doing, like the main things. So at this time, I also had left the project with Planes Collectible, and I finished my contract and delivered everything that had to be delivered. And I worked on MIDI circuit for 3 months up to now. Like this was like February up to now. So this is another cool thing of like, for me, starting companies, that I can literally say, okay, I don't want to work on this period. Like I got money to pay rent and some more. So now I can just like work on my stuff. And I am privileged enough to know that when I go back to the market, there will be something, more. So you lose money during this period, but you might recover it later. So I want to talk next about like what my schedule looks like. And it, it's not like it's all amazing and you don't need a schedule and your own boss and you can take like long breaks and go for long walks and procrastinate and all this stuff. Like you really need a schedule if you want to be able to to get stuff done. But essentially, you can see my day starts with just like things that actually depletes some energy, but to be honest, they actually give me a lot of energy to do the rest of the things throughout the day. So I start working out, or go for a long walk, or sometimes both, and then like shower. Sometimes I do basic things like cleaning the kitchen and the living room, and all this stuff. I actually do all this stuff in my house. I try to use these little tasks in my house to motivate me and to just keep me active and moving forward. Then I do stand up. Delcio is still working with me, by the way. We're now working on different projects. Everyone is getting paid. And we do like some chat and catch up, like looking at designs or just talking about anime. Then it's like from 8:45 to like 1 o'clock roughly, like just focus work. I put on some music and just work. I take breaks, of course, stand up and do skipping rope. Yeah, I love doing that. Sometimes like some push-ups, whatever it is, like or just go to the toilet, really. Then I prepare my lunch, which is another cool thing, like of working from home now. And yeah, I cook my lunch, eat, chill, watch like an episode of anime, some YouTube, maybe. Depends on how I'm feeling, or a tech talk sometimes. And then I get back to work. And then around 5:30, 6, depends. Again, this thing is not, this schedule is very flexible. And then I go for like another a walk, practice bass, and then it's only then that I actually spend more time in social media. Like when I actually allow myself to then reply to everyone, and do all the stuff that you probably do on social media. Then at 8 o'clock, dinner, chill, and then I use maybe the last 2 hours to do some research, plan the day, study or code, on open source project, whatever thing that I want to do. This is not like every day, but this is sort of like how it looks like, at least on a Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, so things I learned. So less words, more actions. To be honest, this is something a colleague of mine at Lush used to say, and something that I guess was always there in my life is that, sometimes you really need to shut down the noise. And now working from home and not being part of a bigger team allows me to just focus on getting stuff done and deliver. Like, that's really, why would you hire me, right? Hire Ricardo, he will come in, ask the right questions, and get the job done. And along the way, I like to make friends too. So I realized though as well that opportunities come in batches. So as I said, like, I'll spend 3 months working on my project, and then I'm thinking like, maybe I should make some more money. And all of a sudden, like, one person sends you an email, then the other person sends you an email, then the other friend is like, oh, actually someone I know is looking for a developer and on this project. And yeah, and then there might be those 3 months, I don't know, maybe because I was working on something else and I wasn't paying attention, that you don't hear from anyone, like, and I think this is actually true. Opportunities will come to your life like all at the same time, and then there will be like maybe this dry moment. Like, business wise, again, another thing I realized is 2-3 days research might equate to like 3+ months of work. Sometimes clients come with me with things, with an email, just an email, and I'll just like spend some time. Sometimes it's just hours. Spend some time just coding like whatever solution, like a proof of concept of whatever they were looking for, just to see how tangible it is, how easy it's going to be. And to be honest, like, I need to be very flexible. Sometimes I don't need to work like 8 hours to get the job done. I can split like, my time however I want. And then, I can, but just spending those 3 days, I actually end up winning a client that can give me work for a long period. And yeah, so money helps, but it's not everything. So what I mean here is like, it's good to have money, but sometimes it's better to have like your own sanity and be at peace with yourself, or take some holidays, or take some of that money and spend it with your friends. So I just closed like my year with profit. I'm happy. I'm literally gonna take some of that money and throw like a barbecue party with my friends and celebrate the year, or just enjoy life and be chill. Like, don't always be trying to chase money. And this is what I feel like is the flexibility again, is that I can decide when I don't want to make money. So, and another one is that freedom equates to time and peace of mind. I was just reflecting one day, like chilling at the sofa, on a day that I was feeling, it was after lunch and I didn't have much energy. I don't know what happened then, but I was just like chilling, maybe thinking about taking a nap. And then I realized this is why I decided to start these companies, like just having time for myself, and using my energy into the things that I really want to work in. And if I need a break, it's totally okay to take a break. And and generally just like peace of mind, like not getting annoyed with anyone, with the world, and just having a positive outlook to the universe, and knowing that everything is going to be okay. Like, yeah, so that's something also that I realized in this journey. And yeah, so thank you, and sorry that I spoke so fast. Yeah, so you can check youngcolevel.com, and or it's Tex Brown on Twitter. And I'm always up to meeting people, so feel free to reach out.
Amazing. So good. Thank you so much for your talk. First of all, I loved the drawings. Amazing. So good. Also really loved like learning about the different types of projects that you're working on. And I also really loved seeing your daily schedule. I love when I get a peek into other people's schedules. It always feels like kind of like a peel back the curtain of it. Like, what do people actually spend their time on? And I loved seeing the it's how you designed it, right? It's not because you get to do this, you design your day. Truly, there's not, other people's schedules. So
Yeah.
awesome. We have a few quick questions. First one is, how did you overcome the fear of failure when you decided to do your company?
Okay. The fear of failure will always be there, like in anything you do. Um, but it's literally like, take the easiest step. Um, I was lucky enough, and I'll be honest, I was lucky enough to already have some friends that had been pitching me these ideas for a long time. And I was always like, I don't want to be like you guys, a contractor or whatever. And to be honest, I'm actually not an actual contractor. I just build stuff. But it was just, yeah, just take the leap. Just take one step forward, or talk to people. And as Pauline was saying, there's communities there, literally. Like, we're in the age of the global village. You can go on Discord and find probably a entrepreneurs in UK or London or whatever you are, group, and ask questions there. um I literally talked to like HR, like from both us two and Lush. I was friends with them, or like, yeah, I had a good relationship with them, and they just like also helped in that sense. It was pretty good, like getting support from people that probably were trying to hire you to stay in the company, but they were like just willing to share their knowledge of the market.
It probably showed a lot about how much they believed in you, right? That they saw that and they wanted to share, and they're like, we can see that you'll actually do it. We're not going to try and keep you, and we want to see you grow and do good things.
Exactly. People want to see you win.
Mhm.
Generally, people.
100%. Yeah, people really do. I think like even when you're giving talks and stuff like that, if you think most people watching, they want you to succeed. Most people, when you're launching a business, they want you to succeed, and people will be willing to help if you just ask.
Yes.
Are there any things that you would do differently if you could go back?
If I could go back, I don't know. I don't think so. It was an adventure, and it was a positive net in general. Um, and for example, the whole having a breakup with my girlfriend, talking about that again. But I don't think that actually has nothing to do with the company, for example. So I don't even have regrets in that sense. I just think like it was what it was. The pandemic was really really intense, and my coping mechanism was literally just get job done. And I feel like that allowed me now to be in a position where it's easier to have conversations with clients. It's easier to put myself out there. So the struggle was real, but it was worth it. So I'm happy for 2020, to be honest, in a way, although it was a sad thing for the world in general.
How do you find balancing all like the business development or the admin side of running a business versus finding time to actually code?
Exactly. So how does that happen? So you you have to have a vision for your day. Like, either you do it the night before or you do it as soon as you wake up. But you better have your day sort of like structured, because people will generally, even now that I work just with Delcio and maybe now another freelancer that will join, but the clients will send you emails. They will want things replied here. So you have to deal with that as well. So I just create to-do lists of about 6 things I want to achieve on a day. And I split those 6 things into 2 parts, as you saw on my schedule of work. So like, let's say I have to solve a problem. Like, I need to build a page, but I also know that I have meetings with a client. So I'll try to like have one session that is just like focus on coding, and then the other session I'll try to steer the client, for example, to do the meetings, and then I'll just like add anything that is like planning, anything that is not coding anymore, because Otherwise you'll be like using, so all of these energies, like I make music as well, so all of these energies are pretty much the same, they're very similar. And when you do one of these things, you're depleting the energy to do the other thing. So you have to structure how to use it. Yeah, hope that answers.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And then final question is, do you have any tips for building relationships?
Yes. Tips for building relationships: be interested in people. Simple. I think it's actually simple as that. Like, want to know people, like talk to them, listen to them, um, pay attention. Like, for example, what ask them things like, what made you excited this week? What actually makes you excited? What brings you joy? Or what was the last book that you read? um Ask them like things about that. Don't go with the typical like, oh, what do you do, what you work, like probably people don't want to talk about that. But you know, I guess in a tech conference, it might be interesting because you want to know like how is their life working as an engineer somewhere else, or maybe a manager, or as a DevOps, a woman in the DevOps career, for example. Yeah, so that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much again.